Okay, so let's unpack this for a second. Think about that very specific morning ritual. You haven't even had coffee yet. Maybe you're still damp from the shower, but you instinctively reach for a bottle of fragrance,
Hmm.
not lipstick, not the shoes for the day. You spray it on before you even really step into the world
Right.
because you need to cue something inside. You need to feel
Hmm.
steady. You just want to feel like yourself again.
That exact moment, that is the key insight we're diving into today.
Yeah.
This shift, I mean, when you realize you're using scent not as the final accessory, but as like the very first tool for personal regulation, that's
It
huge.
feels huge.
It signals this quiet but really profound evolution of fragrance moving from public performance to a dedicated personal ritual.
Absolutely. And that's what we're doing today, a deep dive into this modern shift,
Mm.
using the brand Nectar of Sol as our case study.
Mm.
Their whole mission is built around this idea that scents should be anchors for memory, for ritual, for grounding, not just making a statement for other people.
And that framework is, I think, essential to understanding why they're resonating with people. Traditionally, the fragrance market was all about projection.
How loud it is, how long it lasts.
Exactly, how expensive it smelled to other people. But now, with all the overstimulation and burnout, scent has quietly evolved. It's become a necessary self-management tool. It's about finding presence.
So our mission today is to zero in on why two of their most popular body sprays, Bay Rum and Tobacco Vanilla, are working so well as these emotional home bases for people.
Yeah.
We need to understand the mechanism here. What makes these specific scents so intensely anchoring for the people wearing them?
And how did they manage to make them feel less like a luxury accessory and more like an essential, supportive part of just getting through a day?
Okay, so let's start with that core philosophy.
Hmm.
Fragrance as ritual, not performance.
Right.
Because most of us, I think, grew up being taught that fragrance was the absolute last layer,
Yeah.
the finishing touch.
And that it was for other people's noses.
Totally. It's about public announcement, defining your space socially.
But the modern world, this pressure cooker we're in, it just demanded a shift. So now, when a brand says their scent is a ritual, we have to look really closely at what they actually mean by that.
That's my skeptical question then. I mean, every brand seems to be using words like mindful or ritual in their marketing now.
Yeah, they are.
So what makes Nectar of Sol's approach fundamentally different?
I think it comes down to restraint and directionality. Their brand isn't built around chasing whatever trend social media decides smells expensive this week.
Right.
It's built around slowing down, focusing inward. The scents are designed to make you feel steadier, not to make a stranger compliment you. That internal focus is the real differentiator.
So spraying these on feels less like getting ready for the world.
And much more like checking back in with yourself before you have to step into it.
The benefit is purely internal then, just feeling centered and familiar inside your own skin.
Exactly. It's an internal adjustment, a little sensory nudge that just says, hey, pay attention to this moment right here, right now, which is basically the definition of presence.
Okay, so this is where we get into the texture of the actual scents.
Okay.
Let's start with Bay Rum. The source material calls it the scent of steadiness. It just arrives, it's calm, warm, quietly confident. It's not trying to shock you. It's trying to settle you.
And you really can't talk about Bay Rum without talking about history.
No, it has such a legacy.
It has this the feeling of being grounded, of being well-maintained, but without it feeling heavy or dusty. The scent honors the legacy by being grounding without being sharp. It's spiced without being aggressive.
So it's not about the era. It's about the feeling that structure gives you.
Exactly. It focuses on the psychological effect of tradition, which is predictability and safety. When life feels chaotic, a memory tied to routine can be so regulating.
It's the scent equivalent of hearing someone say,
You're taken care of.
Look.
That's it, precisely. That familiarity is the core of its emotional function. This is the one you reach for when your nervous system needs something solid, when you feel scattered. It's an anchor because it's a reliable sensory input your brain already knows is safe.
It's like stepping barefoot onto solid ground.
Yes.
And because it's a body spray, not some huge perfume, it supports you internally without dominating the room. It fits into a real life.
Yeah, a quick spray in the morning, a reset after a shower, or just before a difficult call. It's always that internal check-in. It has to be approachable because its job is support, not a statement.
Okay, so if Bay Rum is about establishing strength and structure to face the world, we have to look at its partner, Tobacco Vanilla.
The counterbalance.
Yes. Tobacco vanilla is introduced as the scent of softness and comfort.
It's that much needed contrast. This is the scent for when the day is done asking things of you, when you're craving quiet. It gives you permission to retreat.
The profile is just fascinating. It has this depth, but it's not suffocating. It's rich, but gentle. Sweet, but it's never sugary.
That balance is everything, and it translates directly to its function, which is rest. This is absolutely not a night-out vanilla.
No, not at all.
This is a stay in, exhale, and just be vanilla. The source material talks about this idea of permission to rest, which in our culture feels like a real luxury.
I think we sometimes forget how much energy it takes just to maintain our composure all day. A scent that cues you to rest seems incredibly functional.
It is, but in a quiet way. Think about the sensory details. It settles slowly. It's meant to stay close to the skin.
Right. It's not traveling across the room.
Yeah. No. It feels lived in, like a well-worn sweater or your favorite chair. The whole point is stillness, which is the complete opposite of performative projection.
So we have these two really focused anchoring scents, but they're delivered as body sprays, not traditional perfumes. Why is that format quietly revolutionary?
Well, the format itself removes this entire psychological barrier.
Okay.
Traditional perfume often comes with a sense of ceremony and cost. Body sprays are just approachable, they're forgiving, you can reapply them.
And you're not worried about, did I wear too much?
Exactly, that anxiety is gone. They are designed for function and for frequent use.
That forgiveness is key, I think, to forming a habit. There's no ceremony needed to spray it between meetings or because you're anxious. The ritual just forms because the tool is easy.
And that leads us straight to the mechanism of action, the actual science of why this works for emotional regulation.
Yeah, we talk a lot about grounding and mindfulness now.
But scent is one of the most direct tools we have.
So we know it's a shortcut to the central nervous system. How does it bypass our normal filters?
This is the really critical technical piece for you to understand. When you see, hear, or touch something, that information first goes through the thalamus, which is like the brain's switchboard.
Right.
The thalamus processes it logically before sending it to the emotional centers. But the olfactory bulb, the part of the brain for smell, it sends signals directly to the limbic system.
The limbic system being the core of memory and emotion.
Exactly. Specifically, the amygdala for emotion and the hippocampus for memory. Scent is the only sense that gets this direct, unfiltered, express lane access.
Wow.
It bypasses logic. It speaks straight to the body's most primal state.
So that's profound. If you smell something that was present during a time you felt safe, that state is instantly cued without you needing to think about it.
It's an immediate nervous system shift, and that's how these fragrances anchor you. They aren't trying to create a new emotion. They're trying to cue a desired familiar state.
So if bay rum reminds you of stability, it immediately cues strength.
And if tobacco vanilla cues the gentle warmth of an evening ritual, it instantly cues rest. They provide these sensory signals that tell your body, you're safe, you're present, you're here.
So bay rum anchors through tradition and warmth, which offers strength. And tobacco vanilla anchors through comfort and depth, offering softness. They kind of cover the essential emotional needs of a given day.
And that leads us to the bigger picture of the brand's intention, which comes from the founder, Renee S. King. The philosophy isn't just about selling a product. It's about building a brand on intention, integrity, and cultural respect.
The source material notes that the scents are crafted with restraint rather than excess.
And that ties right back into that non-performative idea we were talking about.
Right.
It speaks to the integrity of the process. I mean, in a fast beauty world, they're focusing on thoughtfulness. Nothing is rushed. The formulations are measured to get a very specific, intimate effect. The core value is making the ordinary intentional.
Which means these aren't scents you reserve for a special occasion.
No, they're what make the ordinary moments meaningful.
So like spraying bay rum before you tackle your inbox sets a grounded, capable tone.
Yes. And spraying tobacco vanilla as you leave the office doesn't just add a scent, it marks a transition. It's a sensory boundary between the noise of doing and the quiet of being.
And that's really the central insight here, isn't it? These scents don't change who you are. They just give you a reliable way to remind you who you already are, the person who deserves calm and presence. In a world that is constantly pulling your attention outward, that feels like such a gift.
And if we look at who they're for, it covers the whole spectrum of what we need. Bay rum is for the person who craves stability, who values that ritual and structure.
And tobacco vanilla is for the person who desperately needs comfort and finds their wellness in stillness.
But the brilliance is recognizing that most of us are both.
Yeah, we are.
We need grounding some days, and we need gentleness on others, so the scents are complementary. They're designed to meet you exactly where you are in that moment.
The quiet confidence of this brand is just genuinely refreshing. It invites connection, it supports your internal world, rather than shouting for external attention.
It's all about establishing that familiarity and ritual.
And over time, that repetitive, intentional ritual becomes memory. The scent gets locked in with a season of growth or healing or just a time when you consciously chose to slow down and anchor yourself.
Because fragrance, at its best, doesn't just sit on your skin like an accessory. It lives inside the story of who you're becoming. It serves as a real neural cue for the states you're trying to achieve.
So we'll leave you with this provocative thought to mull over. What personal ritual involving scent, whether it's a body spray, a candle, even the smell of fresh coffee, what are you already doing every day that you haven't yet recognized as a legitimate, functional form of emotional regulation?